Hippie Fari, Reggae Radio and Podcast is brought to you by The Island Rhythm, the dopest reggae-inspired and Rasta-inspired designs, clothing, and everything else you could possibly imagine. Check out theislandrhythm.com. Check out Island Rhythm on Facebook and on Instagram. Once again, The Island Rhythm is where it's at. Much love. I make music for my friends and family. Through creation, I feel closer to the moment and time as a whole. Grateful for another breath and another song. And that is a quote from Mellodose. And this quote addresses one of the main reasons I created Hippie Fari, the beautiful, life-changing message of reggae music. It was created for social change, and its message is as strong today as it was in the 60s when the first reggae records were released in Jamaica. So welcome to another episode of Hippie Fari, Reggae Radio and Podcast, brought to you by The Island Rhythm and Reggae Painter. Recorded live in the Omen Honey Reggae Radio and Media Studios in the beautiful Ocala National Forest in Florida. So take a second and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You're supporting an underground reggae podcast, and much love. And I am your host, Scotty the High-Strung Hippie. And Hippie Fari is a podcast where we discuss all things reggae, so if reggae music is your thing, you are in the right place. So tonight, I know I always say this, that we have a special guest in the studio, but tonight we definitely have a special guest in the studio, guys. Tonight's guest brings a deeply heartfelt and intentional vibe to the music world. Hailing from the beautiful island of Puerto Rico, our guest is weaving connection, creativity, and healing into every beat. With an amazing catalog of music, releasing an astounding 4 albums in 1 year, plus more, obviously post and prior, our guest is the sonic vision of truth rooted in spirit, of love for community, sobriety, and soul level resonance. Now, through his music, he opens space for reflection and gratitude, and through that, a deeper connection to the moment. So, folks, please join me in welcoming Mellodose to the show. What is going on, my friend?
What's up, brother? It's good to see you, Scotty.
It's fantastic to see you too, man. It's been a long time coming. When I started this podcast, you were one of the first 3 people that I reached out to, and I know you're very busy, and I was finally able to make this connection, and I am extremely excited to have you on the show, man. So just thank you so much for taking the time out of your night to come on, brother.
Man, thank you. I appreciate it very much. That means a lot, that we were top of mind when you started. And I think you spoke with my brother Kurt not too long ago, right?
Sure did. Yep, at the Point Break Festival. I got a little 2-3 minute interviewing with him, which is really cool, man. Nice. Love One Culture, dude. I love everything that everybody's doing in the scene right now, but especially the Virginia Beach, that VB, that area. That scene is amazing, man. I think it's kind of like the blueprint, it thrives, it's like a family. You feel that connection, that vibe with all those guys, man. They're all super incredible people, man.
Yeah, a lot of just really great musicians in Virginia Beach, too.
Yes.
Like, they have such a deep musician community, and like everyone is constantly gigging. And
right.
One Culture's drummer, is a guitar player, like an amazing lead guitar player in like 2 other bands.
Right.
Everyone does everything.
Yep. That's really so cool, man. I play percussion. I often wish, man, I could play guitar if I learned. And I could play some chords, but not enough to play by myself. But I was like, I should have learned how to do it, because I'm constantly getting calls from people going, "Hey, Scotty, do you know somebody that can fill in for a gig?" And I wish I could be like, "Yeah, me."
Dude, you can do it. Anyone can pick it up and learn at any point in life.
100%.
My stepdad is always picking up guitar and learning a little bit more at a time.
Sure.
By no means like wants to go out and gig, but like,
right.
He's just like chipping away at it slowly but surely.
Yep, that's so awesome, man. Yeah, that's kind of how I was with the percussion. I started out like drumming on my leg, and then I had thumb rings as a kid, and I was always tap, 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 tap. I was like, I meant to play percussion. And my wife, when we're laying there watching a movie, I'll be like tapping on her. So anyway, but that's kind of, I knew that was my calling, but I definitely need to pick up that guitar, man, because, it's the more it's just nice to be able to pull out a git fiddle and kind of, get down and play some tunes. So it's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah, and I believe everyone's a songwriter too, whether
amen.
or not you write a lot of songs. I think people everyone has a song in them, you know.
Amen. Absolutely. Um, I I love the way that you address things. You know what I mean? That's you're exactly right, bro. People, I think everybody, you're right, man, is does have a song within them. You know, actually, you know, they're most people's life stories, you know, are songs in general. You know, people hate on country, but that's why I like it a lot because every song is like a story. You know, it's beautiful about somebody's life. So it's really cool, man. But
Dude, 100%. On that same tip, real quick, there's this artist who's so awesome, super, super positive, sober too. His name's Nico Moon. And on the same exact like wavelength of like everybody has a song within them.
yes,
Uh, Nico's a country artist and he is releasing a song
okay,
that he wrote with his dad,
nice.
who has never written a song up until like this past month. And they're putting out a song together.
That's
And his dad,
beautiful.
I don't know how old he is. He maybe late 60s, 70s, but they're literally about to release this. And Nico's a really big, successful artist. You know, he was, I think, signed to a major label in Nashville, and now he's fully independent. But he's a huge artist, and he's about to put one of his dad's songs out. You
That's
know, it's
great.
so cool. So
That's
cool.
beautiful. You hail from Tennessee now, don't you?
Yep. So
Yeah.
we live in Middle Tennessee, just outside Nashville.
That's great, man. Like I said, you know, I'm roots reggae head to toe, but I have there's no shame in my game, bro. I love country, man. Like the late '90s
Nice.
or late '90s, early 2000s. Yeah, I do. I love it, man. It's got a vibe to it. You know, it tells a story. You know, it's not the whole lost your dog, wife. That was older, but kind of the newer stuff. It's still a lot. It's really positive and. A lot of the, you know, the rhythms, they just flow real well. So I definitely get down with some country music, man.
Yeah, man, I think it's great songwriting.
Yeah.
The productions are always super, like I love production and
Yes.
that whole side of, being a musician, and country music has the best production in the game, you know?
Absolutely. And a funny story, my wife was always like, I don't like country. So I'd play a song for her. She's like, I like that song. Play another one. I like that song. I was like, well, then you like country. She's like, oh, I
Yeah.
guess I do, man. But let's go ahead and start with the most important moment in Mellodose history when you baptized me in Gatorade at Point Break Festival, right? um,
Shit.
it was pretty awesome running into you that way. So about that festival, which was, you know, kind of where we you know, met up. What do you remember about that day? How did it feel to connect musically and energetically with folks? You know, because I know you had to run into some people that were, you know, knew who you were and had some positive things to say about your music. How does that feel?
Man, for me, I'm such a homebody, and to get out and have like both really lighthearted, fun conversations with people, and then also like some really like deep conversations with people about, what maybe the music has meant to them, or even more so than the music, but like aspects of just like what I've shared about with my sobriety, like meeting people who've really connected with it. Like, it means everything. I mean, like, I love making music, and I make music for the sake of like better understanding myself, better processing and understanding life. But ultimately, like, I really crave connection with other people. And so getting to be at that festival, see bands that I like super look up to, you know, bands like The Movement, bands
Yes.
like The Elevators, like it was just such a awesome, perfect weekend. Like it went flawlessly. I think, whoever was putting on the event did a magnificent
Oh
job.
yes, fantastic job, man.
Yeah, the festival was just so well
It
ran,
was
and there was like no sound issues that I remember. The
right.
band sounded incredible.
Yep.
Like I hadn't seen 311 in maybe like 6 years, and like Nick Hexum's voice is
Yep.
still perfect.
Oh yeah, I
It's
know,
like,
dude. I was walking out when I was walking out, and I heard him. It was from a distance at first. I was like, man, it sounded like somebody had just threw a freaking CD in and played it. I was like, God, wow.
yeah, so seeing like musicianship of that caliber, seeing bands who have been doing it for that long, seeing new bands and new artists,
Yep.
like Jarve. I've heard a lot of Jarve's music. I've seen a lot of the stuff he's done with Little Stranger, but I'd never
Yeah.
seen him live.
Right.
He was incredible live. Like making his own beats completely solo up there. Like he's
Yeah,
a
that's so
total
cool.
showman.
Yep.
Dude, he's so good. And
You gotta
like,
love that.
it was just, man, it was such a fun weekend. I got to see some of my friends that I've been friends with in the scene for years and years. I
Yeah.
got to meet new people like you and your wife. Um, that was the craziest, like most serendipitous moment, just walking past. We were in the green room,
Yeah.
green rooms, like the outdoor tents, and it was super hot and humid in those. So they moved in more portable AC units. And so I went in to get a water and I walked past the AC unit, or no, I went in to get a Gatorade. And
Yeah.
and I walk past the AC unit, it blows my hat off into the room y'all are in, and
Yeah.
I don't have the top of my Gatorade, and I just like try to catch my hat and throw Gatorade on you.
Yeah, no, that was great. And that was funny because I remember seeing a hat and I looked up and I was like, holy shit, you're Mellodose. You're like, yes, I am. And I was like, can I talk to you for a couple minutes? Then I got that
Yeah,
short
it was
interview
fun.
with you. Yeah, I mean, serendipitous is definitely the word. I was like, that's cool, man.
Yeah, it was wild, man. And
Yep.
the whole weekend was just beautiful sets of music. Great to see longtime friends. Great to meet people that I've only known online.
Sure.
You know, get to meet them in person, give them a hug, talk about music, talk about the songs, talk about, what sets they're looking forward to.
Yeah.
The whole thing was awesome.
It was absolutely fantastic, and we had the awesome privilege of being able to actually be on stage with Cultivated Mind and record their set. We're actually putting together the whole live set, and then I'm doing a whole other podcast on the entire event. But that was neat to not be able to just be at the festival, to actually be on the stage with one of my favorite bands and people, Tony Brand. Just
Yeah.
amazing all around to be able to work with them, and have them allow me in their personal space, with a
Tony's
camera.
set was incredible, man. And
Yes.
that's so cool that you guys got to capture it because
Yep.
from what I heard from, I've seen Tony play solo a bunch of
Oh yeah.
times and it's always mind blowing.
Yes. Oh God,
Um,
I know, right?
I'm like, well, how is this even
Yeah.
possible? I'm
Yep.
like watching it because it sounds so massive and it's so tight, and he's
Yep.
like going back and forth from trumpet to,
Yep.
shredding guitar to
Wild.
powerful vocals to doing bass, keys,
Yep.
drums. Like it's insane.
It is.
But then he was with this whole band, and it was
Yep.
even more insane because I had no idea he was going to be Tony with a band.
Yep. And then he's
So
playing
good.
straight up roots reggae on a hollow body. You know what I mean? Like guitar.
Yeah.
I mean, it just the guy knows how to put out incredible sound. I just say that it was cool though. It was definitely humbling to be on the stage. I love that kind of stuff. My wife's a nervous wreck, so she didn't even turn her head and look at the crowd. She just but I was definitely stoked to be able to have that opportunity. It was very
That's special, man.
very humbling, man. So we'll definitely get deep here in a second, but if we could just go ahead and start off, man. How would you describe Mellodose, man? What is the soul of this project?
Yeah. I think it's hard to put Melodose into like one specific sound
Sure.
because it's truly not really just me. Like
Right.
the spirit of it has been collaboration
Mm-hmm.
from day one. And also the spirit of it is like while we make a lot of reggae influenced music, I
Mm-hmm.
also have released tons of songs that are like 0% reggae.
Yes, absolutely.
So I would say like generally it's like collaboration and experimentation and really just tapping into whatever feels right in the moment.
Right.
And when I'm working with other people, if I'm like co-writing a song, like Life's Been Good is a song that I know you expressed that you love.
Oh my God, life changing.
And that song is like with my buddies Vibrite, who are Tennessee boys too.
Yep.
And like, Steve is an amazing vocalist. And the first time I ever heard Steve's vocals, I messaged Shane, who's the guitar player in the band who I had known for like a decade. And I was like, who's singing with you guys now? And they came over, we wrote the song together. Steve sings it, I made the beat. So it's like that's one version of Melodose,
Yep.
co-writer, producer. And then there's other versions where, I'm also singing lead vocals. I'm also writing the songs and singing the songs
Right.
as an artist. And then there's other situations with like my great friend Honora and Austin Grimm,
Mm-hmm.
where they come to me with songs that, they've had in their unreleased discography for years, maybe.
Right.
Um, and they say, "Hey, would you be interested in, you know, putting a Mellodose track in your style around this song and
That's great.
learn their song and then produce it?" But that's like solely producer, no co-writing. So it's like all over the place, you
Sure.
know?
But even if you're solely producing, you're still giving a song that was just chilling in their vault. You're giving it life, and you're bringing it to the people, which is absolutely amazing. Funny Mellodose story, real quick. This kid Brandon used to work with me, him and his brother. He literally looked at me one day and goes, "I'm kind of bored with the music I'm listening to, and I know you listen to reggae. You got some recommendations for me?" I text him a list of about 10 artists. Next day, he comes back to work, no lie. He's like, Mellodose. He's like, that is some fire stuff. And I was like, right on, man. Such a beautiful thing. But even though you do cross the genres, you're to me, the reggae heart and soul, you know, the one love, everything, the message is still there, man. It's such a beautiful thing, man. Now, you've said, and it was my quote when I started the show, I make music for my friends and family. And that is such a grounded and beautiful place to create from. Can you kind of unpack that a little more? How does that intention actually shape your songs? Or does it shape them at all? Is it just completely organic?
Um, you know, really, when I started Mellodose, I don't know how much you know about like previous to Mellodose, but I was a guitar player in another band that toured the country for 8 or 9 years. And I was just a guitar player primarily in that band.
Okay.
And when that band ended and touring part of my life really ended, and I look back on everything and, you know, I had maybe written 5 songs in 8 or 9 years. I kind of had this moment where I was, you know, really, I was going through like a really deep existential crisis. I had like this fear that I just had crazy anxiety during that time period of my life. I was recently sober. I was having a lot of panic attacks when I was like on tour and when I was at home.
Sure.
And have you ever had a panic attack?
I certainly have. I actually take medicine so I don't, to be quite honest with you. Yep.
Yeah, man. So like when you have one, you have that feeling that everyone describes as like this impending doom.
Yes.
And I really believed like I was gonna like die soon.
Right.
It's crazy. Um, but I was like, man, I've been making music my whole life and I haven't really put my story in terms of like the journey to finding sobriety, finding my version of, a spiritual connection. Like I hadn't really put any of that down in words. I also fell in love like 1 year and 1 day of my sobriety. Like I met my wife, Katie.
Beautiful.
Um, so I was experiencing so much change. Like the band that was my life for almost a decade ended. I was a year sober. I fell in love. I was also having panic attacks for the first time.
Right.
And I just wanted to take a step back from like treating music like as a career. And I just wanted to write songs and create songs that like if anything did happen to me, like the people that were closest to me would have something that they could listen to and be like, I hear Marco's story here. I
Yeah.
feel like Marco's here. So like that's what I wrote in that time that's like my Spotify bio that you read.
Yep.
And that's just like where I try and stay in,
Mhm.
even present day where I'm lucky enough that the music is reaching people like you in
Yep.
an organic way and connecting to their life. And I'm grateful for everyone that listens, but I want to always like stay in the mindset that I'm writing songs to better understand myself
That's
and I'm writing
beautiful.
songs for like my family, my future
Yep.
kids. Like, it all stems from family first for me.
That's beautiful. And you write a lot. You have a ton of content. I know I read it right. I mean, 4 albums in 1 year.
Yep.
2024, I believe. That and then they're not like EPs. These are like full-length albums, like 12, 13 songs each. That's incredible, man. That's
That's all because of my friends. I mean, that we did
yeah,
Austin Grimm
that's
album.
beautiful.
So, a lot of songs he brought, I
Right.
worked on produced. Then we
Right.
started writing more together, had co-production
Yep.
songs, co-artist songs,
Yep.
vibe right. the album with One Culture,
Hmm.
Ocean of Truth, and then my own record that I've been like piecing together over time.
Yeah, that's just a lot of music to memorize, production or not. You know what I mean? That's a lot of songs to have in your head, bro. That's pretty intense, man. And if you're doing it for your friends and for your family to have something, that's pretty incredible, man. You're definitely you're definitely doing it right, man. So you're from
Appreciate
the
that.
beautiful island of Puerto Rico. Which part?
Yeah, so my family is like all over. Both my
Okay.
parents are Puerto Rican.
Okay.
Um, Spent their whole lives there. So, my dad and my mom have literally a family member on every single part of the island.
Beautiful.
Uh, my dad grew up in Santurce,
Okay.
and my grandma, until she passed away in 2019, she was in Carolina. And then I have grandparents now that are in San Juan, but they used to be in Luquillo. But I literally have family members
Nice.
in every city. My wife and I got to go back last summer, and um, it's never enough time, you
Yeah,
know.
of course. Yeah, my buddy Jimmy, I grew up with, he was from Ponce, and
Yeah,
I saw the pictures and stuff, and I was like, I want to go, man. It was beautiful, dude. Absolutely beautiful. It's
man,
definitely.
it's paradise, dude.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
So you haven't been?
I have not been. I want to go really bad. First of all, the food.
Yeah, dude, literally, like my wife and I's favorite part of our trip was just all the food, because I mean, we ate something different every day and it was all incredible.
Yeah. Oh,
Like
yeah. Yeah.
so good.
Yeah. I love it. I can only imagine, man. That's definitely awesome. And so, how has your heritage and your upbringing kind of influenced your writing and your creativity?
Yeah, so like when I grew up, I really grew up here in Tennessee because my parents moved from Puerto
Okay.
Rico to the Northeast and down to Texas, and then we got
Right.
stationed just outside of Fort Campbell here in Tennessee. Um, but I had a cousin who moved in with us,
Yeah.
and that's who first showed me Bob Marley. He like showed me the
Nice.
Legend album.
Yeah.
And so he lived with us for about a year and a half, turned me on to two things. He turned me on to Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, reggae in general, and then he
Nice.
turned me on to reggaeton. Like
Yes.
he
Okay.
loved reggaeton.
Right.
Um, and then I have an uncle who's, just a huge music head too, and he gave me a DVD by a band called Cultura Profética. Have
All right.
you heard? It's a Puerto Rican reggae, jazz, fusion, epic band,
Oh,
monster
nice.
musicians. Um, but they used to do this thing in Puerto Rico where they would do like a big Bob tribute.
Oh, beautiful.
And so back in the DVD days, he gave me a DVD of Cultura Profética playing their Bob tribute, and he gave me the what is it, the Simmer Down compilation, like the ska era of the Wailers,
Beautiful. Yep.
like early
Early,
recordings of all
early.
the
Yes,
songs.
absolutely. And Bob Marley wrote like Coffee and his original songs on Beverly's Records. Yeah, that sounded straight ska.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think maybe his CD was even like a burnt CD, and maybe he had like gotten it from LimeWire days. I just remember
Yeah.
it was just, but that sent me on my own LimeWire journey
Yep.
of like, downloading all the I would make my own mix
Oh
CDs,
yeah.
and like for the longest time it was like Duppy Conqueror was my favorite tune, but I noticed like later in life I found like the actual CD versions, and like there's still like old school recordings from them,
Yep.
but they weren't as bad as whatever I was getting off of
Right.
LimeWire.
Yeah, exactly. I had the unique opportunity to have Al Anderson on the podcast a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
That was really neat, man. Talking to him, and it was about an hour and a half. He went in depth about a lot of stuff that you normally wouldn't hear, all the way up to the end of Bob's life and his touring career and stuff like that. And it was pretty intense, man. Definitely
That's cool, man.
a tearjerker for me. It was sad, but it was neat to be able to hear it directly from Al Anderson. You know what I mean? That was
Yeah,
a unique gift. I'll
powerful.
tell you that. That was
That's
definitely
very
very cool.
powerful.
Absolutely, man. So, thank you for sharing that, man. Now, Mellodose kind of feels like music with a presence. That you're definitely singing in the moment, and I know that you had mentioned, that kind of being intentional, and I'm sure it's organic too. But you said creation helps you feel closer to time as a whole. Can you kind of share what that means to you?
Yeah, that's
That
probably it's a little heady, but
it's intense. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's
yeah, I think you know when I write, the way I write 90% of the time
Okay.
is I will make an instrumental or a beat or a track, that I love. I'll focus on just the rhythms, just the drum and the bass, the keys, the guitars, all the parts. Like I'll focus deeply just on the music and just try and get lost in it for however long it takes. Um, you know, Usually at my best, I'll have like an uninterrupted 6 hours if I
Nice.
can, just work on a rhythm. And then when I actually write lyrics, like 90% of the time, I just hook up my mic and I just freestyle ideas nonstop over and over and over and over until things start to kind of materialize and form themselves into consistent melodies or a chorus melody or a general idea and vision for like the message of the song. So when I say it makes me feel closer to the moment and time as a whole, it's mainly the practice of how I write, trying to fully channel and just let go,
Yeah.
and whatever is naturally coming out when I'm singing on the mic, maybe writing it down, looking at it, doing another verse, writing down, looking at it, and starting to see what the moment's like kind of revealing to itself, more so than being like, I have this thing I want to write a song about. I'm going to consciously think about it
I
and kind
like
of just
that.
let it happen.
That's dope, man. So that's organic in essence. You know what I mean? That's beautiful. You're allowing it to come kind of like a Jackson Pollock. He just throws paint at the canvas. You know what I mean? And it always ended up being pretty cool. um,
Yeah, there's refining. You have to go through
sure.
as an independent artist doing mixing and production.
Right.
You have to go in and refine your rough draft, so to
Right.
speak. Um, but trying to let the initial idea come through whatever just naturally comes out.
Yeah. And you do all the production, correct?
Well, me and Kurt do a lot of it together,
Okay.
because he's the person I collaborate with the most,
Yeah.
and he does production work on the songs I work on.
Yeah.
Um, Also, like, when did the whole record with Austin. Austin's a phenomenal multi-instrumentalist, and he plays a lot of parts on the records that we
Yeah.
made together. So really, whoever's in the room, if they want to play something or they are really skilled at a particular instrument, like
Right.
Austin can play any stringed instrument.
That's
He
awesome.
plays banjo really well, and he plays it on our song Spirit of the
Yeah.
Sun.
I love the banjo, man. Spirit of the Sun. That's like you on Mellodose Spotify. That's up there. That's like 80,000 plays there. That's a pretty big one.
Yeah, man, I'm grateful that, we had so much fun making that song, looping back to
Right.
like the country music thing.
Right.
Austin was raised on country music,
Hell yeah.
loves country music. He did a whole what's the way to say it? Country Goes Reggae album. So he
Yeah.
did like old Hank Williams
Yeah.
tunes, Casey, like modern stuff too,
Yeah.
Casey Musgraves, but like in a reggae
That's
style.
beautiful.
Um, so when we made that, I was like, man, Austin had his banjo, so he plays banjo on it. I was listening to a lot of Cheryl Crow,
Nice. I
and
love Cheryl Crow, bro.
dude, she's so epic.
Oh, she's
Uh,
fantastic, man. All the Lilith Fair girls I liked, but I was born in '78, but like when I was in high school, they were all huge. Love it. Love Cheryl Crow.
yeah, man. So we were listening to that. I was listening to a lot of just slide guitar, like my guitar teacher growing up. I had two guitar teachers. I had one that just taught me like theory and like jazz standard stuff, and then I had another one that was my buddy's uncle, or sorry, my buddy's cousin, and he would be like, "What do you guys want to learn today, like song wise?" We'd be like, "We want to learn, you know, uh, the Doobie Brothers, or we want to learn the Eagles," and he would teach us songs,
That's great.
classic rock songs,
Yeah,
and he
cool.
was a not was he is a rip and slide guitar
It's
player.
awesome, man. Yeah, I love it. I just love that whole sound. The banjo is great. I love bluegrass music. There's a band called Leftover Salmon there. Have you ever heard of them
Yeah,
before? Bro,
yeah,
straight up hippies, man. They just crush bluegrass music, bro. It's so awesome to watch them, man. Um,
that's rad, man. I went and saw Billy Strings.
yes, very good stuff.
Uh, I don't know when. Sometime this year, me and my buddy went, and it was just mind melting.
It is. It's cool stuff. I can go down the rabbit hole of the bluegrass music too. I absolutely love it, man. That's so neat though. But Now you had mentioned going through cycles with your music, you know? Like what artists or albums have kind of been resonating with you lately? And do do the artists like I don't know, this might be kind of a weird question, but does the music that you're currently listening to affect how you currently write? Or do you separate that?
It just depends. I think the mood I'm in from a creator standpoint
Yeah,
also goes through its own cycles. Um, what comes out subconsciously in the lyrics and turns into like the song matter really is representative to maybe whatever I'm going through in the moment or processing
sure.
in the moment. But like from a musical standpoint, like lately I have been listening to one of my favorite bands in the world that I listen to all the time, but I'll go through cycles of not listening to them. But I've been listening to a lot of Fiddlar. It's like a punk rock band from Los Angeles.
Love punk.
And then I've been listening to a lot of this artist named Honest Ave. He's a songwriter, kind of like does some rap, but he's really like mashing up like bluesy music with modern rap production.
Have you heard of
But both
Los
of those
Crudos?
Los Crudos, I don't
Yes,
know if I
they're
have.
a Spanish punk rock band, bro. Or the Casualties.
Yeah, Casualties,
Yeah,
yeah.
you mentioned punk, but they're insane. But yeah, I love punk too. But I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just gonna say I believe Los Crudos is from Puerto Rico, so that's why I was asking.
Okay.
They're really old school though, but it's really good stuff, just like street punk, 3 chord street punk. But it's good, man.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I listen to a lot of reggae and I listen to a lot of everything, but like lately the cycle I've been in is I've been listening to a lot of Honest Abe and Fiddlar, and a big part of that is both of those artists and bands write very raw, real, like lyrics that
I love that.
would be so hard to write down as an individual because they're so honest. They're like painful to write down.
Right?
Um, they talk a lot about addiction and sobriety and
Okay.
um, not always in like the
The punk.
prettiest, like
Sure.
hopeful light of like, hey, you know, like a lot of what I try and channel from my addiction into sobriety is the hope side of it and telling the story of coming out the other side. But
Sure.
something I really appreciate that they do is like they shine a light on kind of the mania that you go through when you're really in the throes of addiction.
Sure.
And it's something that I think is like really has to be scary to write, but it's obviously resonating because both of those artists are doing really well. And I think it's because other people can relate to that
Sure.
pain, you know?
Absolutely. And like you said, it might be something that a lot of artists don't talk about. But as someone who's gone through that, yes, it's it's nice to know that there are musicians and artists out there that do actually touch on it on a deeper level because you can go, wow, I relate. I'm not alone. You know what I mean? And that's always a beautiful feeling, whether going through depression or recovery or anything like that. You know, it's nice to know that that you're not alone and that there's people out there that are fighting the same fight and struggling alongside with you. So it's a
Yeah,
beautiful
man.
thing.
I think that's like, with music, um, there's music for times of celebration
Yes.
and there's music that, is for times of like pensive reflection
Sure.
and hopefully healing. And on the reggae front too, like we talked about it, I think a little bit that day, but like the reason I love every time I see the movement
Mm.
is that band literally was like saved my life. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
like their music saved my life. Like Josh's story that he went through, they were the first reggae rock show I ever saw in 2009. Um, they played in Nashville at this old venue called 12th and Porter. It was before I had joined my other band, but I went with that band to see them, and it was early days for them, and I was just like became a super fan, and to just see the full spectrum of what Josh and Jordan, Jordan's doing his own music now too, and um, to see them both on the other side of it, and to have written records and lyrics that truly changed my life. It's
Sure.
like I I think that's what it's all about, man, is connecting at that depth, you know?
That's so awesome because my next question was about the movement and Josh's journey, and how their music has helped you walk your path. But you pretty much just answered that question without me having even to ask it, which is very, very awesome, man. So, and the movement, yes, I can't say enough about the movement. One of my, me and my wife, we love it to death. My wife loves the movement to death.
New
They're an
record soon.
extremely impressive band, all the way from their management, Reed, all the way down the line to just the musicians. They're absolutely incredible. And they're from my home state. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina.
Cool.
Yeah, and they definitely represent SC. Amazing, you know what I mean? Yeah, they're just absolutely phenomenal band. Love them
Yeah,
so
man,
much.
they got their new record coming out soon, which I'm like
Right,
so stoked because they when they release records, they still do it kind of like so we were talking about how I released 4 albums in
right.
that year, but really I had dropped so many singles off of each album leading up to that that it was more like by the time the albums came out, they were almost like compilations of singles that I had released with all those people.
Sure.
For new fans, they got a whole new album. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
But I love like the movement still will drop a new album and it's like you've only heard 3 of the songs
right,
and
right. So you got so much
maybe
to look forward to.
yeah, like I'm so
Yeah.
stoked. I get to hear new songs that I've never heard from one of my favorite
And
bands.
it's like they actually live their name too, because it's like their music is a movement. Because I know that song, what's that? Sounds of Summer,
Yeah,
actually did better, like a couple, it did better later. It came out, it was a smash when it came out, but it really just like it gained popularity after it had been out. You know what I mean? So it's
yeah.
like their music is a move. The whole thing just coincides. It's pretty awesome, man. But yes, can't say enough about those guys. Absolutely fantastic. Um, and Josh has a really, really good interview on the Reggae Pod Clash. It's a podcast. They do a really, really so Reggae Pod CLASH. Do a really, really, really good interview with Josh from the Movement on there. So absolutely fantastic stuff, man.
I think I watched it a long time ago. It
Yeah.
was like during COVID era, right?
Yep. Sure was.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a really good one. It was funny when he comes on. He's like, I don't know as much about reggae as you guys, but it's all good. But
Yeah.
yeah, he was so honest. He was an absolute trip, man. I loved it. Um,
It's a deep history, you know. I think we could all, even if you committed your life to it, it's mind-boggling how many records were made. I don't know how they had enough time in the day to make as many records that
oh,
came out during that time
oh,
frame.
bro, that's why in my intro, talk about the reggae records first released in Jamaica in the '60s. I was talking to my wife about it the other day. How this little island impacted the world with music,
Yeah,
bro. And like you said, so much of it, you know what I mean? They're artists that only put out one record, an A side, a B
right.
side. So many of them, And here's a cool little tidbit. When they had the selectors back in the day, if you ever find an old school reggae record where the name is
Mhm.
scratched out, that's because the selectors when they were playing. They didn't want somebody to walk up in their dance hall and see what song they were playing, so they would scratch out the name of the artist. So another selector couldn't copy it, his dance hall play it. And I was like, that's cool, but I don't know. Is that kind of like taken away from the people knowing who the artist is? But back in the day, I guess it was kind of cutthroat. You were the guy laying down the records. You wanted people to come to your party, so you were playing the freshest new stuff. So I know a lot
Right,
of
you wanted to keep
DJs
your
did that with the
gig.
white labels too. But
Yeah, you wanted to keep your gig.
yes, exactly. But I thought that was pretty funny. I mean, you see some guy there with a safety pin scratching it.
That's funny.
It
I never
is,
heard that.
man. But you've talked about prayer, meditation, and choosing positive thought, speech, and action. How do these spiritual practices show up in your music? But if you don't mind me getting a little deeper here, how do they show up in your daily life?
Yeah, so sobriety looks different for everybody. I'm a big believer in that, what works for one person doesn't work for everyone. And
Amen.
um, everyone's version of sobriety is different too. Like for me, um, I don't partake in any drugs or alcohol other than caffeine and nicotine.
Heard.
Um, you know, uh, but part of my sobriety program is like the traditional 12-step program.
Okay.
And you know, part of that program is prayer and meditation.
Amen.
So, something that I do on a daily basis is like when I first wake up, first thing I do after I get out of bed is, I say a prayer. I say the things I'm grateful for. I say the people I'm grateful for. The body that I have that I'm grateful for, the health of my body, the health of my mind. Um, and then I invite whatever it is that may want to show itself in terms of positivity and abundance and
Right.
new lessons into the day. And, I do like a 20 to 30-minute stretch. And like, that's kind of like my prayer, my meditation,
Sure.
my intention for the day, my gratitude, and then just like a little short physical meditation. For me, that's just like I'm a creature of habit. It's part of being an addict.
Yes, it
It's
sure
like,
is. Yep.
it's like I'm used to doing the same thing and running it into the ground.
Yes.
Uh, so for me, adopting new habits in sobriety is crucial for me
Hmm.
to like feel like my day's off to the right start.
Yep. That's funny when you talk about the behaviors, the obsession of behaviors. My friend, I was in 12-step program before, and yeah, he was like, I have to 12-step myself off of my computer. He's like, I am straight addicted to internet shopping. You know what I mean? He's like, I
I
replace one with
understand.
another. He's like, I obsess over. Like, I can't wait to get home to check out the deals. He's like,
I
and I have to
understand.
like, okay, I have a problem. You know what I mean? I gotta reach out to my friends and let them know. And but it's true, man. That compulsion, it gets you.
Yeah,
And if
man.
you're not consciously thinking about it, it's crazy how it works, man.
It's in the 12-step program they call it like a spiritual ailment.
Mm,
Um, for some people that maybe don't identify with like a spiritual practice, like it's, like you said, a compulsion, it's like an obsessive element. And it can apply to anything in your life. It can apply all the good things. Like for me, like I'm super addicted to making new songs. Like
mm,
the feeling that I get once I've made something new that didn't exist before, like
right.
that feeling's super addicting. But that's a great thing for me to be addicted to.
Amen.
I have to manage it to a degree to where I have to be like, okay, stay consciously in the moment enough to realize that you have other things in your
Yeah,
life you
exactly. You have
also
to
have to
allot
do,
time. Yeah.
you know?
Yep.
And then also like the newness is a great feeling, but part of being an independent artist, for a lot of my friends, like you have to follow through and like get things over the finish line too. So there's an element of discipline that you get to a point where maybe you've been mixing a song for a few weeks and it doesn't feel particularly exciting and fun anymore to mix, but like if you're committed to your artistry on all fronts, it's not just channeling inspiration, it's also digging into the nitty gritty and trying to make it the best version of itself.
Amen.
Draft one, two,
Yeah.
three, mix 35, whatever it is.
Yep. It's so awesome, man. And I know sobriety has definitely affected your songwriting process and your relationship with yourself. And so, are there moments where the music has actually it's felt like medicine for your own healing? I know you said that's something you do, but you actually do that. That's part of your healing process, correct?
Yeah, I would
It's
I
great.
would say, there's a lot of songs I've written that I haven't released that maybe I won't release that, you know, are things that I had to write about and get out
Sure.
and process and heal on that I don't know if they are necessarily a net positive for the
Right.
world.
Right.
It's something I've struggled a lot with over time is because I've write a lot of stuff that is maybe darker. Um, that I used to heal. And I
Right.
had to create to heal through that process and to like understand what happened and get to the other side of it. But it's something I struggle with, in terms of like, do those songs have a net positive for me? Yes.
Yeah.
Could they have a net positive for everyone that hears them? I don't know. Sometimes I worry that they might, some of the darker stuff might pull someone
Sure.
who's already lower, you
Right.
know?
Understood, man. I mean,
Yeah, but I Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I was going to say that's beautiful that you actually take that responsibility. You know what I mean? That's taking it one step further and thinking about the fans that are listening to your music. That's cool, man.
Yeah, it's a tough line I think to walk, because you know the artists that I mentioned earlier that I've been listening to, the healing I get from their music, the connection I get from their music, the lack of feeling alone that I get from hearing their super raw
Right.
lyrics is, you know, that's life saving for me. But I also know that I'm at a different point right now where into deep into my sobriety, having a healthy family life, having a ever growing healthier relationship with myself, um, and healthier relationship with my positive addictions and negative addictions, like it's probably okay for me to hear that and to identify, oh man, I remember what it was like to be like that. I'm glad I have that reminder that I'm not alone.
Right.
But if I was deep in my addiction listening to it, it might not be a net positive,
Understood. Yep.
you know?
100%, man. Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. But as someone who's experienced both sides, yeah, it's things are completely different when you're in addiction and when you're not, you know. You hear things, you see things completely different. You know, I never looked at it that way before. Oh, because I was hammered all the time, you know what I mean? It's you know, and like you said, it can go both ways. It could either be wow, it could drag you down, like you said, or definitely pull you up. So that's cool that you actually take that extra step and that responsibility, man, to ensure that, you know, the people listening to your music are definitely getting that positive message, man. So I feel like this, but do you feel like there's a growing space in the reggae and the, you know, indie music scenes, for the artists that are walking that sober path and using their music as spiritual work? I think it's becoming more more common now. I think people are starting to realize that, you know, being that sobriety is a pretty cool way of life. You know what I mean? Like it's back before it was like, you know, when you're in school and people are cramming the shit down your throat. It's, you know, you don't want to be sober. That's boring. Is what a lot of people would throw at you. But I think that tune is changing now. Um, I
Yeah,
I think it's
I
so
would
cool.
agree, man.
Yeah.
I think, you know, I have so many friends who have gotten decided to live a life of sobriety. I wouldn't even say gotten sober. They just have chosen to live a life of sobriety,
Right.
and they don't identify as an addict. They
Sure.
didn't feel like they necessarily had a compulsion.
Right.
Um, they just decided to change their lifestyle because they felt like it just made them feel better physically, emotionally.
Sure.
Um, it was better on their bank account, you know,
Yeah.
like
That part.
practical things, and like, you know, wanting to be in full control of, you know, the outcomes of your life to the best of your ability. I mean, we're not ever fully in control,
Right.
but I do think so. You know, I mean, part of my ability to have even been fortunate enough to find and maintain sobriety for any amount of time was because I had friends in music who were sober, who toured all the time and were in the same situations I was,
Right.
and they were vocal about their sobriety. You know, they
Yep.
were regularly talking about it, not only talking about it, but they would make posts about it. You know, they would write songs about it, you know, whether it's a band like The Movement, who I'm a fan of, and
Yep.
I don't know them super well personally, or bands that I was friends with, you know, like Tropodelic or Up Good Nature, like all those guys were walking that path before I was, and being able to see them gave me a roadmap and a community
Sure.
of people to talk to, you know.
Yeah.
This other part of the program is it's a circle, you know, you got to have a community of people
Amen.
to talk to, you know.
Absolutely. That's I look at life, and you know, my podcast quote, the quote that defines the show, that is strength and unity build your community. Um,
Yeah, I saw that on your email. That's awesome.
yes, that's my wife's quote for the podcast, but also life. You know, like you collaborate with the music. When I do the festivals, I love working with people. I really do, and the positive people, because um, you know, when that day comes, when something happens, you know, you need the people around you to be able to lift you up. Seriously, that's what it's all about. It's that tribal mentality, you know. You take care of the tribe. You know, when somebody needs help, you offer help. And that's a beautiful
100%.
thing. But I think it's amazing that there is becoming a really huge space for people that are wanting to take the sober path, and it's not like taboo anymore. It's like, hell yeah, you're sober. Not like, oh wow,
You're right, dude.
yeah,
It is like hell yeah. It's because
yeah,
I think like when I first got sober, I was like still scared to even like talk about it,
right,
because I just immediately felt like people would, write me off as like an out of control person,
right,
and it's completely like the opposite now. I genuinely find that people are so supportive and
yeah,
like stoked on it, you know?
yep, yeah. I was pretty out of control, addict, alcoholic for quite a while, and I just think about like there's things that I did. I'm like, it's terrifies me to ever go back to that place. You know what I mean? I'm like, my God, that's insane, man. So I just thank God, there is an out. You definitely
Yeah,
don't.
man. And they say whenever we've been in this position where you've been sober, it's like what scares me is, they always say like your addiction's been doing push-ups just
Oh
waiting for
yeah,
you.
waiting for you.
You know?
Yeah, and they always say, and it's absolutely true because I was in and out of programs for a while, and they're always like, when you go back, it's worse. It is worse because you're like, I got to make up for lost time, and it's like
Right.
your brain built uh, that tolerance, and it's
Yeah.
crazy. I was in the rave scene for a long time doing a lot of dumb crap, and I was back and forth, and yeah, it's true, until one of the last times, it's like, when you almost kill yourself a couple of times, then it's like,
Yeah.
all right, maybe I should seriously take a step away from this because I know we're all going to pass one day, but not from that. I don't want to. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
definitely don't want that to be the way, man. So, but it's nice to have people like you in the scene and it becoming more commonplace for people that are even thinking about it to know that there's music out there and there's people out there that definitely respect that path and that are with them on their journey. Um, it's an
And for
incredible.
anyone who's not like currently able to get to where they want to be with their sobriety, like, I mean, it took me 5 years in and out of meetings. I got into some legal trouble. My first AA meeting was court ordered. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yep.
um, so for anyone who's out there that's like having a hard time getting it to stick, like, I can't really stress enough, like, to just reach out to other people
Yep.
because without having my buddy, who was my first like fill-in sponsor until like I had someone like local to my area, like he didn't live in Tennessee with me.
Right.
Um, but without having him, without having my other buddy who gave me my big book, like I remember I met my buddy downtown at his job. He came out, gave me a copy of his big book. Without having those people when I was hitting bottom over and over and over, and them like not beating me up, but like consistently,
Lifting you up.
yeah, lifting me up,
Yes.
praying for me,
Yep.
challenging me to get better, challenging me to let go of like my vision of like the person who has all the control, like just
Yes.
challenge me to like just trust something else, you know? Um, so yeah,
Yep.
anyone that's like struggling with it, like I just really can't stress enough to like reach out.
Amen. That's definitely an addict thing, not letting go and wanting to have control. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
like I used to try to to justify it. I was like, well, I am in control because I know how many you know how many ecstasy tabs I'm taking at the rave. I'm like,
Right.
that's how, I mean,
Right.
come on, bro. That's just ignorant, but it that just goes to show you that, it's like, that's the letting go and realizing I'm when I do this, I'm not in control. You know what I mean? Not at all,
Yep.
But
Mhm.
and letting, the whole saying, let go, let God, it's so true. It is
Yeah, man.
so
And whatever God is to you, I
exactly
think
100%.
that's
Yep.
a it's a big hang up for a lot of people.
Right.
Um, Depending on your relationship with
The higher
organized
power.
religion,
Right.
or yeah, a higher power, organized religion,
Yep.
your childhood, like whatever it is, like
Mm.
for some people it's a difficult thing.
Yes.
So like I try for anyone maybe that doesn't have like a concept of God they can really lean on, just lean on the other people that you
Amen.
trust.
Yep. Your
And
sponsor.
I hope you have someone you can trust. And if you don't, I guarantee there's a meeting somewhere with people that you can.
Sure. 100%, man. Yes, that's true. When I was going to NA back in the day, quite a while, I walked away from all my friends in the rave scene and right into a meeting. It's so funny that 99% of the guys, they all listen to the break beats and the techno. They were all ex-ravers going out.
Nice.
Yeah, it was back when the rave scene was huge in Orlando. So my sponsor was a DJ. It, yeah, I'm like, I'm not alone. These people are exactly like me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I found really, really good friends immediately. So,
Yeah.
yes,
It's cool when you realize that, like, I think something else as an addict personally, and I from other addicts, that we always think that like we're this unique version of an
right.
addict, and like that we're like somehow the best addict, we're the
Right.
most
Yeah.
addict or whatever. I
Yeah.
don't know, but then you meet other people, you're like, oh, we're exactly the same.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. We think the same way. We do the same thing. Yeah. We have the same compulsions. We view life the same. Yeah.
100%, man.
Yep. It's amazing, man. Yeah, one thing that's definitely helped me, getting into, the prayer and the meditation, and kind of letting go of, my ego controlling me, and just kind of, like you said, letting go, relinquishing control, and just, allowing what will be, but I know if I go out and start running that stupid road again, as hardcore as I used to, it's not going to be good. So, but
Yeah.
now let's kind of go ahead and move on to I titled this Artistry Beyond Sound. Your visuals, man, especially the photography, have such a soft and meditative quality. Can you talk about working with Katie Cameron and how
Yeah,
her
so
art complements Mellodose's energy?
yeah, Katie's my wife.
Yep. Beautiful.
She is a wonderful photographer and just naturally has an eye for it, and she particularly loves nature photography. So not every single piece of artwork that we have is one of her photos, but a lot of them are her
That's great.
photos. And for me, when we started Mellodose, like it was something that connected us too, like on a creative plane, to have her visual vision be a part of like the music. And she also sings on like a lot of songs randomly too.
Right.
Um, so it's really special, for me. And anytime that we get to collaborate, because we do so many songs with so many different bands, and
Right.
sometimes other bands will have like specific vision and it might not align with photography in general because her medium is photography.
Right.
It might be like, digital art or hand drawn art. Um, but when we do get to work together, it's beyond special to me. And I think it is always perfect.
That's great, man. It is a really, really neat dynamic to be able to work with your wife. My wife is all of my behind the scenes for the podcast, like that podcast packet you got and
Yeah.
the promo reels and all that stuff she does. So, like I tell people, I was like, if it wasn't for her, I would have a podcast that nobody knew about,
Yeah.
No.
They definitely help us do things more
Yes.
efficiently, in a better, prettier, like more aesthetically pleasing way,
Yes. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I love Katie's advice like on songs too. Like she's the first person usually that will hear everything. So I'll generally, like, if I come up with a new song, I'll show it to her first and just say, "What do you think? What could be better?"
Yes, that's awesome, man. Yeah, it's somebody to run something past who's going to give you honest advice. Yep. I like that, man,
100%.
a lot. Yeah, and we also have our nonprofit, which is amazing. Me and my wife, we work with a couple other people, but it was me and her working together, and it's neat, sitting in a living room, with your wife for hours on end, just creating something beautiful is so cool, man. Um,
Yeah, what's your nonprofit if you want to
I would love
share
to.
about it?
Yeah, it's called Sacred Eye. You can visit it. It's sacred SACRED the letter I.org.
Mhm.
And it's a nonprofit initiative, or it's a nonprofit with a couple of initiatives. It's basically, if you go to Sacred Eye, it tells you about it. We're building a community of, like-minded people. Anybody's welcome, no matter what religion. We believe that love is the answer to everything. Two of our initiatives are One, it's called the Natural Spectrum Project. We raise funds for holistic autism research,
Oh, that's cool.
and and we're also partnered with OAR, the Organization for Autism Research. They are advocates for patients with autism. So, say for example, you have autism, and there's the medical, the American kind of medical system will kind of chew you up if you're by yourself. So OAR advocates for these people to make sure that they are taken care of properly and that they have a voice,
That's awesome.
It's a beautiful thing. And then I also, a brainchild of mine about 2 years ago, I was like, I wanted to do something for the community that has done so much for me, which is reggae. So I came up with Reggae for a Reason. And that's our second initiative. Now, if you're a full-time reggae musician and you get sick, you break your arm, you're in the hospital, and you miss your tour or you miss your gigs, you're out a lot of money. What do? There's no unemployment. Well, Reggae for a Reason wants to be able to step in. And if you've missed your tour, if you've missed your shows, you're missing gigs because you're sick or something happened, we would step in and help you financially because
That's awesome, man.
there is no unemployment for reggae musicians. I had a friend ask, why not all genres of music? I was like, because I love reggae and it's my life, and I want to do something for the reggae community. And
Awesome.
also, I hate to say it, but if a member of the community happened to, pass or anything like that, we would obviously give support to the family, with costs and things like that. And also, two more steps of that are there are a lot of programs out there that give musical instruments to underprivileged children. Well, we want to provide the lessons. So, say
That's cool.
there's a couple of companies out there or organizations out there that give kids Kids Rock the Nation. They give the instruments to the kids. Well, we would like to step in and offer free reggae lessons. It's a community centers. You meet there on Saturday for 6 weeks, 6 Saturdays, have local reggae musicians volunteer and teach these kids how to play reggae music.
That's cool, man.
And then donate funds to learning institutions that have reggae studies or Caribbean music studies programs to fund the programs even further. But the first, the most important part of the Reggae for a Reason is helping the artists who are missing their work, due to sickness or hospitalization.
Man, that's awesome.
We're having
That's so awesome.
we're having an event October 18th and 19th. It's called Awaken on the River. It's our first fundraiser. We've got 12 bands. It's 2 days camping event in the Ocala National Forest on the beautiful Ocklawaha River. And it's going to be our fundraiser. So we're very excited about it. And the end result is to have our own, property with a venue, and have structures on there where people could do workshops. You could do, Katie could come there and give a photography workshop for 5 days. You know what I mean? And that's all feeding back into the nonprofit, so we can keep supporting, the people that need it most. Me and my wife made a decision about a year ago that we were going to dedicate our lives to helping people only. That's it. Everything I do from now on until the day I die is going to be to help somebody else
That's beautiful.
who needs it, because people have helped me. And if I have the means, I would love to bring in $20 million a year at Reggae for a Reason and still live in an RV on property. You know what I mean? And give all that money to people that need it worldwide, because it's a huge community and there's definitely people out there that are in need. And I've done enough in my life, especially being an addict, to satisfy myself. It's time that I seriously start giving back to people.
That's beautiful.
And
Brother.
that's
I love that.
what we want to do. And it's a beautiful thing. I know it's what we're supposed to be doing. So thank you for asking me about that, man. That's really awesome, dude.
Yeah, man. Thanks for sharing. That's amazing. That's I'm sure a lot of work, but a labor of love.
Yes.
You feel energized while doing it.
I do, because it's the spiritual path that I'm on. Part of that is part of the written word, from the holy text and scriptures is be in service to others, be in service to others, be in service to others. That's what life is all about. Be in service to others. And if you're always in service to others, no matter what you look at it, if you're a Christian, Jesus, number one commandment, love thy neighbor. It's it's not anything else. Love thy neighbor. Help people who need help. And in turn, one day when you need help, people will help you. It all goes full circle. If we all thought that way, I think the world would be amazing. So, but it's
Yeah, man.
the mission and the path that we're on. And that's the path I'm going to stay on, for the rest of my life, man.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate you guys dedicating yourselves to that. That's cool.
Absolutely, man. Well, thank you so much for allowing me to talk about it. That's really cool. I definitely appreciate it.
Of course.
So getting back to Katie, you definitely see the visuals as an extension of the music.
100%.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. So now I want to get back to when I interviewed you the last time when we were at the festival at Point Break. I got a 5-minute interview with you, and I asked you if there was anything you could tell the world or tell people, what would it be? And you said, reach out to your friends, kind of, because tomorrow is never really guaranteed. And that definitely stuck with me, man. Because that is important. Talking about the community, if somebody's down, they don't want to reach out. It's important to reach out to people because you never know what somebody's going through. Where did that message come from inside of you?
In that exact moment, we had just had Kurt and I had a little like meet and greet hang with our Facebook group is called Mellodosers,
Okay.
and his is One Culture Family.
Nice. Yep.
And so right after Tony's set, right after Cultivated Mind set,
Mhm.
we had a little meet and greet with anyone who was at the festival that wanted to like meet up and hang out and talk and take pictures, whatever. Like, there's so many people that I have had tons of messages with online
Right.
that I've never gotten to meet in person. So we met with a bunch of people, and I heard a lot of stories from folks about their personal addictions, that their sobriety stories. You know, people would struggle with depression. And it was really heavy. Like almost a couple conversations that got me really close to like almost like crying,
Sure. I feel that.
and it was just one of those times where I was like never really, when you start writing songs and whatnot, especially in the music business, like you don't anticipate them finding a life and a path of their own. And when they do, and when that manifests itself all the way to the point where you're in front of someone and they're saying like, your song like was a song I listened to a lot
Mhm.
after a really dark period, and it's been, a piece of my personal healing. When someone says that to you, it's just like it hit me really hard. And so I had just come in from like, probably an hour of conversations with people, and it was just, heavy on my mind. Like check on the people that you care about,
Yep.
check on the people that you think are always okay. You know, um, you just never really know. And I think like in hindsight, we always look back. Like I had my sobriety birthday a couple weeks ago,
Good for you. How many years,
and
if you don't mind me asking?
yeah, so this was my 8th year,
Wow. Congrats,
June
bro.
26th. Thanks, brother.
That's killer.
Um, and it's crazy, man, because I I'm always very vocal and public about it, because my friends that were vocal and public about it were the people that when I hadn't told anyone that I needed help, because they were vocal and public about it, they were the first people I reached out
Of
to, and they
course,
were the
because you
first
knew.
people.
Yep.
Yeah, because I knew.
Hmm.
Um, and just like in the last couple weeks, I've had conversations with family members of friends of mine who lost their battle with addiction.
Hmm.
Um, and man, it's just we're the lucky ones.
Yes. Amen,
So
bro.
yeah, check on your people for sure.
Yes, 100%. And yeah, you definitely nailed that, man. We are the lucky ones, 100%. If we don't go back and do the same dumb shit, because if we do, then, but that's addiction, man. It's so weird. They call it cunning and baffling. You know what I mean? You're like, why am I doing this? I'll never forget when I went into NA, funny story. My sponsor was like, Did you find yourself doing drugs that you didn't like just because that's all that was around? I was like, all the time. He's like, how fucking crazy is that? And I was like, that's pretty crazy, man. You know what I mean? Like, that's
Oh yeah.
messed up when you think about it, bro. But it didn't seem
Yeah.
weird at the time, but it definitely seems a little weird now.
Yeah, it's like it's just when the desperation sets in and it's like anything to fill the
Yes.
void, you
Yep.
know.
Absolutely, man. So thank God there's people out there like you spreading that positive message. You know, it doesn't have to be that way. So, I know you're pretty busy. You put out a lot of music. Um, how do you stay connected to the community, like your friends and family, when things get real busy and real heavy?
For me, and I think, this has been kind of maybe a confusing part of Mellodose for people who are fans of the music and really love the music. Like for me, family comes before everything.
Amen. Right on.
Um, and so like I don't tour. I consciously decide not to tour
Right.
because I spent a lot of years on the road with my previous band and I loved it. And it was like the deepest, richest, beautiful, vibrant, so many wonderful experiences seeing the country. Um, but at this point in my life, like I've missed a lot from not just my time with my wife, but like time with my family and with my friends. And
Yeah.
um, I love music and I want to put everything I can into music and creation, but I prioritize as much as I possibly can between, everything that life throws at all of us,
Yep.
um, family and friends as much as I can before everything.
That's beautiful. And yeah, my wife works remotely. You know, she can work from anywhere in the U.S. And I'd always said, you know, like I said, I play percussion, and if we ever even go on a tour, I don't care if it's a short 3 week tour. Guess who's going? Kira.
Yeah,
Kira's
100%.
going with me, and she's
That's
totally
awesome.
cool with that. But I'm like, I'm not leaving my wife for three. No, I just not that I'm untrusting. I just don't want to. And
Yeah,
I want to be with her. You know, like that's 3 weeks without her where I could have shared something incredible. So um,
100%.
that's
And
how
we're
I
talking
feel.
about not getting time back or, you never know what could happen. It's
Right?
like my favorite thing to do is to do nothing with my wife and my
Hell
dogs,
yeah, that's great, man. Yep. Oh, me too. I love, yes, doing nothing, hiking with Kira. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I've got a really, really, really crazy skill. We can be on a trail, tiny, tiny trail, hiking through the woods, and I can find these like micro trails, bro, that like
Oh, nice.
the tiny, because I'm skinny, bro, that the smallest little animal made. And I'm like, come check this out. She's like, when the hell did you find that? You know what I mean? And we're like,
That's
it's neat
awesome.
exploring and doing neat things, pretty much like you said, and just sitting around, doing nothing. Um,
Yeah, we just went to East Tennessee for our wedding anniversary not too long ago, and it was beautiful, man. We went
yeah,
and saw some waterfalls and
yes,
got some good challenging hikes in. It was fun.
that's great. I love hiking. Like I said, we're relocating this weekend to the Ocala National Forest. Actually, where the venue for my event's going to be, and it's in the middle of the Ocala National Forest on the Ocklawaha River, which is a beautiful
Wow.
river that runs through the forest. So I'm, the number one thing that excites me about it the most. I'm like, I'm going to be able to find a spot in the woods that nobody has ever found before, and I'm going to be able
Yeah,
to
that's
have
so
that
cool.
as my meditation spot. You know what I mean? I'm going to be able to sit down and in complete silence in the middle of a national forest.
That's awesome.
So, and it's just beautiful. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's very, very cool. I'm really excited about that. So and then kind of in closing here, are there any lyrics that you've written that you return to? The lyrics that you've personally written that you return to when you just need that reminder and that encouragement. You know what I mean? And then I must say, life's been good. I know you mentioned it. You were talking about songs that made people, put people in a positive place or tell you that. I know that's a song that you worked on with Vibrite, and I can tell you, man, I could be feeling any sort of way, bro. Me and my wife, actually, I had some stuff going on with my mom that I had told you about when we were driving home. What did I throw on? Life's been good to me, yeah. And bro, it makes me feel good. And that's a
Nice.
beautiful thing because that's a guarantee that I can put that
Yeah.
track on. I'm going to feel good. And that's one of the few, that really just
Yeah.
does it to me every time.
That's so cool, man. Yeah, I love Vibrite so much. They are so talented. They are also like, family first guys, both
That's great.
dads with couple kids each, and they're just the best people. And sitting in a room and writing songs with them, which we don't get to do that often lately. It's been a while since we've been able to do something. I think the last time Steve and I and Shane got to all three of us together. I don't remember the last time, but last time Steve and I got to get together was when we did No Pain is a song that was on the record from last year. It's
Right.
Vibrite and Adria Joy. But anytime I can share space with them is really special
That's
to me.
cool.
I love that.
I'd love to have them on the show one day. You never know, man. Beautiful
Dude,
thing.
I'll put you in touch with Shane for sure. That'd be awesome.
That would be very awesome, man. I definitely appreciate that, man. So, I guess I butted right in after I asked you the question. The lyrics, your personal lyrics that you kind of return to, if you need like encouragement or
I don't know if I have really my own lyrics that I
right,
return to. Um, I mean, like for me, again, the movement
yeah,
is one of those bands that like I get emotional when I see
yeah.
live.
I feel that way about Tribal Seeds.
Man, they were so great. I had never, I think I saw them once, maybe in 2013, but seeing them at Point Break
Right,
was the first time I'd seen them in a long time, and they were so incredible.
absolutely.
Uh, but I would say like not so much my own lyrics,
Okay,
but the the song "Rescue" by The Movement,
okay.
is a really beautiful song about music and brotherhood and friendship and family and
My
like
wife's nodding her head up and down. Yeah.
yeah, like
Yep.
that song. And it's like it's just the thing I love about bands like The Movement and Stupid is like they can have a song that is like hits you in the soul,
Yeah.
but it's also like the coolest
Right.
sounding song. It just sounds
Slightly stupid.
undeniably
Yeah, they've
cool.
got a real good way of making songs sound cool as hell, bro.
I know, like Life Rolls On by Stupid
Yep.
and Rescue by The Movement, like Choice Is Yours from Stick,
Yep.
particularly like, all the lyrics in that song, but I really love Kyle's verse in that song. Like um those bands, those songs, like when I need to just like try and check back in, like you're saying, and realign with like everything's okay, everything's gonna be okay,
Yep.
trust the path. It's those kinds of songs.
It's fantastic, man. Absolutely, bro. It's a beautiful thing. I know everybody's got their life's been good, that's what so that's really cool, man. So once again, if somebody's out there is listening, is feeling lost, isolated, just stuck, what would you say to them?
Man, I'd just come back to like you're not alone.
Okay.
100% you're not alone, and reach out,
Yes.
to someone, if it's in the parameters of like you're feeling lost and aimless within addiction, like even if you're not a spiritual person or you're not a 12-step type of person, like get to a meeting just to like establish some kind of community.
Sure.
Um, you know, and I always, for me too, like if we're friends on Facebook or you follow me on it, like send me a message. Like
Beautiful.
I'm definitely like try my hardest to like
Yeah.
make sure I see every message. It's hard to keep up between all the different platforms.
Yep.
Um, but at the very least, like if you don't have someone you feel like you can trust, like
Yep.
message me,
That's beautiful, man. Does the name Jennifer McAllister ring a bell?
sounds very
She's
familiar.
one of my good friends. She talks to you, or she did in the past. She's like, I'll message back with Mellodose, back and forth. But yeah,
Where's she from?
I definitely wanted to, send her love to you because she loves you. But
Where's she from?
Jennifer McAllister, right at Edgewater.
In Edgewater? Okay, cool.
Yep, Edgewater, Florida. But
Awesome.
yeah, she's a awesome,
Sending my
awesome,
love back.
awesome person. Very cool, man. So, what is next for Mellodose, man? 4 more albums. What's in the works right now, man? Anything that you can divulge. Anything you can. I completely understand.
I like surprises. I think in the openness of the world that we live in, that is social media, where everything is like immediacy,
Okay.
like you can immediately find out about things. Like I think it's cool to have surprises. So I generally don't share too many things until
Okay.
like it's like one week out,
I
you
like
know?
it. That's
Yeah.
beautiful, man. Right on. Well, good, man. So what's up next for Mellodose? A bunch of surprises.
Yeah, exactly.
We're definitely looking forward to that, man. I like that, bro. Keeps me on my toes. You know what I'm saying? But I know with the amount of content you put out, you've definitely got something coming. So I'm really
Yeah, we're
excited about
working on
that.
songs. We're
And
definitely
then
working on
and
songs.
last thing, you kind of answered it in the question before, but I asked you in the last interview. I'll ask you again. The world's kind of going through some tough times right now. No matter which way you look at it, you know, it's kind of some strange things going on. What's one message that you could share with the world right now?
Man, I think um tying into what you said about your organization, like love is the centerpiece.
Truly,
I think trying to see ourselves in other people, no matter how different we are, um, is challenging for all of us, but
sure.
really trying to recognize the humanity in every person, even if you feel like the person on the other side of you, um, if you think the worst of them, like I really believe, as cheesy as it might sound, like I truly believe we are all a part of one giant organism.
We
Um,
completely are. Amen.
no matter how different you feel from the other person.
That is so
Um,
true.
and it's hard sometimes when we see the things that happen in the world to like keep that front of mind. Um, but yeah, I would say lead with love, lead with empathy, just try your hardest to see the humanity in other people. And when you feel like you can't get through to someone else, like accept them for who they are. And like, if you can, if you have, like you're saying, the power within yourself to serve others, like do your best to do that and tip the scales, you know?
Amen. And closing in here with love, something that has helped me out tremendously. Um, I was always like, you know, you have to learn to love, learn to love. If you don't know how to love, learn to love. Well, the conclusion I've come to is it's not learning how to love. It's unlearning everything you've been taught that has been preventing you from loving. Because at your core, that organism that we're all a part of, that organism is love.
Yeah,
You know, as a
100%.
baby, we're born and we are pure love. We learn
100%.
how to not love. And if we unlearn these things that we've been taught, what's left is love.
Yeah, I think a lot is defense mechanisms
It
that
is
we put
ego.
up. Yeah, and ego. So I
Yeah,
think like if we can challenge ourselves to hope for the good and see the good, like you can love more easily.
you're
For sure. I
exactly
love
right,
that,
man.
bro.
Well, I can say this straight up. I love you, bro.
I
Thank
love you
you
too, man.
so
I
much.
love both of you. Both
Ellie.
of you.
Kira, say hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Hey, Kira.
She hates coming on the camera. um, I can't say enough, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight, bro. It was
Thank you, brother.
it was absolutely fantastic. It was everything I could have imagined and a lot more, bro. It was definitely a treat for the listeners. I mean, what this is to me the epitome of just a beautiful podcast. It was very neat. I know that people after listening to this are going to feel like they know you a hell of a lot more than they thought they did before, and that's kind
Well,
of the point.
I appreciate you, man. You have a wonderful um, living, breathing organism of its own here in the podcast. And I appreciate the openness with which you've approached the conversation and the kindness, you've shown me. And I'm glad I spilt Gatorade on you.
I totally am too, bro. You know what I mean? It's you never know who's gonna spill Gatorade on you, but that was a beautiful thing, man. That's why, you know,
Uh,
you can't get, like you said, lead with love. You know, if, you know, some random person might have had Gatorade spilled on him and immediately went like, you know, what the hell? I literally looked up. I was like, who did, ah, that was
funny.
absolutely amazing, bro. I love that. So I'm totally glad you spilled Gatorade on me too, man. So, folks,
Right on.
there is strength in unity. Build your community. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on TikTok. Hippie Fari. I am the only Hippie Fari in the world. Google me. You'll find me. Shoot me an email, hippiefarirreggae@gmail.com, and check out my website, hippiefari.podbean.com. And this is Scotty, the high-strung hippie, and Kira, the Irie Empress, reminding you to speak your mind before somebody else does it for you. Do something nice for somebody today. Grab flowers for your partner. Smoke out a stranger. Slip the homeless man a buck. But whatever you do, do it from the heart, because all good things start with the heart. Peace, love, and Rasta rhythms are all a part of that reggae revolution. One love, fam.